The following is an Outdoor Channel original production.
I'm Robin Bird. I'm an ex-Navy deep-sea diver and a marine naturalist. I've spent years filming and observing sharks in the wild.
And I'm Eli Martinez. I'm an expert on shark behavior. I'm on a mission to unravel the secret world of sharks and share what I've learned with you.
We're going to challenge everything you think you know about sharks. The three largest hammerhead sharks include one that seems to be odd even for a hammerhead. Ranging as far north as Nova Scotia, the smooth hammerhead prefers slightly cooler water than its cousins, the great hammerhead and scalloped hammerhead. It's also been reported to be a fast-swimming, aggressive shark. Recent sightings in California provide Eli and I with the opportunity of seeing just how bold the smooth hammerhead actually is.
We're heading out of Oceanside, California this morning with Captain Chuck White, one of the best shark guides in Southern California. Recently, a very rare and unusual shark has made the local headlines. The smooth hammerhead is a shark that prefers temperate waters. It's kind of the Goldilocks of sharks. Doesn't like it too warm, doesn't like it too cold. It's also a coastal pelagic, very unusual. It's just as comfortable in 10 feet of water or even traveling up a river as it is 50 miles offshore. Lately, conditions in Southern California have proven very attractive to the smooth hammerhead, and that's why Eli and I are here.
The smooth hammerhead is the second largest hammerhead shark. They average between 8 to 11 feet in length. The largest on record is 16 feet and 880 pounds. This is a shark that's considered aggressive by divers who have encountered it, but they seem more content with stealing fish off spearfishers and fishermen.
We want to get a sense of the smooth hammerhead's personality. Eli and I both know from experience that the great hammerhead is very curious, very bold, and sometimes downright threatening. They could care less about divers one way or the other unless you're holding a fish.
Their close cousin, the scalloped hammerhead, is a shark often found in large schools worldwide in tropical and subtropical waters. This is a shark that is far more timid and will generally shy away from divers.
Our first goal is tough. This is a big ocean, and these smooth hammerhead sharks are very rare. But our guide Chuck White has a keen sense of where to search. We're using satellite data to determine where the warm water areas are mixing with cold water, and that line in between them is where the tuna should be running. And if we're lucky, that's where we'll find smooth hammerheads pursuing prey.
Once we find the smooth hammerhead, our main goal is to keep it interested in us and hanging around long enough for us to get a true sense of his personality. We've heard a lot about the smooth hammerhead's attitude, but for Robin and I to get a true sense of this shark's psyche, we need to spend time with the animal in the open sea.
20 miles out, we begin laying down a chum slick. A frozen block of chum in a floating milk crate is the state of the art.
Let's talk about the smooth hammerhead cephalofoil. Now that is a fancy name for that big hammer-shaped head. We know that the great hammerhead is extremely sensitive to weak electrical fields that are emitted by literally all living creatures. And that's critical to how the great hammerhead hunts its prey. It can detect a stingray buried 2 to 3 inches underneath the sand and then dig it right up and eat it. But the smooth hammerhead is a coastal pelagic. It spends a lot of time miles at sea and a lot of time right up along the shoreline. So what is this animal hunting and how is it hunting?
Robin, believe it or not, these sharks have options. When they're out in the open ocean, these sharks are fast enough to chase down a speeding tuna. And when they're by the shoreline, they can use their big metal detector head to help them find a stingray that's hiding underneath the sand. These are very efficient predators, and they have to be in the harsh environment that they live in.
How many calories they expend hunting for food versus how many calories they actually consume when they're successful, that formula determines whether they live or die.
The smooth hammerhead is not only rare, it's elusive. Finding this shark requires skill, knowledge, and luck. We settle in for a long day. We're 20 miles offshore with Captain Chuck White, one of the best shark guides in California, and we're on the hunt for smooth hammerhead sharks, a rare and unusual hammerhead species. Reports are that this shark is fast and aggressive. Our goal is to get a feel for this shark's personality by getting in the water with one, if we can find it.
Okay, we've got some commercially purchased shark chum. We're putting out a chum slick right now that this can go out for a mile or two, and the sharks can come from any direction and they'll follow this scent right back to the boat.
Well, I've got a little bit of experience with smooth hammerheads here in Southern California. I'm a guide, and I've been in the water with them about a dozen times. You know, we're always very excited when they come to Southern California. It's not very normal, mostly during these El Nino years that we've been getting. They can be, every shark's really different with the hammerheads. They can be very skittish, spend hours swimming around the boat and never let us see them in the water. You know, or when they get comfortable, they're very comfortable and they become a real player. The only real aggressive hammerhead we've had was the only male I've ever seen. And he actually came in, he was the smaller shark of the two hammerheads that we had around, but he dominated the situation. And that was the only time that really came in really hot. The hammerheads, you know, they're shy, they're very finicky, they seem to kind of sense everything much more than like a blue shark, where it's very simple to get them in and comfortable with you.
Smooth hammerheads are rare in Southern California, but for the last 2 years we've had exceptionally warm water due to the El Nino situation, and we have seen a lot of hammerheads. They're traveling with the tuna. To find them, you pretty much have to go out and find the tuna first, and the sharks will be in the area. We have used a chum slick to attract them to us, but most of the time we are just tuna fishing, and all of a sudden they will pop up and be right there with the tuna.
So we're getting dressed, we're getting geared up. We haven't seen anything. We've been out here for hours. We've just been chumming and leaving us slick for miles. But we have to get ready. We have to literally be able to get in the water within 30 seconds if a smooth hammerhead were to show up. They don't hang around long. They could show up, do 2 or 3 turns around that chum box in the boat, and then take off and we won't see them again. So it's critical that all of our divers are geared up. Their gear is ready to go. All they got to do is grab it, put it on, and jump in the water, and our cameras are ready to go. So it's a waiting game. It's a waiting game.
Right. It wouldn't hurt.
Guys, we got a smooth hammerhead coming around the side of the boat. Get in the water as quick and as quietly as you can.
These sharks don't hang out for very long. We have very little time to get it together, get our gear on, and then we can't jump in the water. We got to slip into the water. And if we're lucky, this shark will become accustomed to us and will come in close enough for us to get some good video. I'm hoping it's a really aggressive one and it wants to come in and say hello, but you can't count on that.
We slide into the clear blue water and find that we're completely alone. No sign of the smooth hammerhead. Just empty blue void. We remain calm and still, hoping the hammerhead returns, but finally give up and head back to the boat.
That's what you call frustrating. That's really frustrating. Well, we got close. We got close. So Chuck saw it, but we didn't see it. The boat captain we had a 10-foot smooth hammerhead cruising around the boat. But boy, as soon as we slid into the water, I guess he hung around a little bit after that, but then just disappeared and never let us get close enough for video.
exasperated as our first hammerhead shark just vanishes before we have a chance to get any video. We'll shift strategies, and tomorrow we'll head further north to cooler waters with Captain Keith Poe. Eli and I need to spend some time in the water with the smooth hammerhead to get a feel for this shark. It's our second day of searching for the smooth hammerhead shark. Yesterday, we were 20 miles offshore from Oceanside, California. Now we're headed 15 miles offshore from Palos Verdes with Captain Keith Poe. He has a plan to find our smooth hammerhead.
Chorus line coming at you.
Keith Poe is a man who lives life on his own terms. He's a world-renowned shark tagger and spends an enormous amount of time searching the waters off Southern California for sharks. We asked him to find us a smooth hammerhead, and Keith Poe delivered.
We just had a smooth hammerhead come up to the back of the boat, and we got to get in the water as fast as we can because they are very skittish, won't hang around very long. And this one shot in and shot away, but we're gonna probably get lucky here. So here we go. There he is. Smooth hammerhead right there off the bow. Look at that. That's a nice one. He's about 10. Yeah, that's a 10-footer. 10-footer.
You ready, David?
40 feet back.
30 feet behind us.
Yeah, 40 feet behind them.
The trick here is to slide gently into the water without spooking the shark. There are 3 of us, and we're fairly large, so the shark has every reason to be wary. Eli begins chunking up frozen skipjack tuna, and the smooth hammerhead swings back in to investigate. All sharks are curious. Some are more wary than others, and this shark does not seem interested in joining the party. As Eli begins chunking up another tuna, we get a glimpse of the smooth hammerhead cruising the perimeter of our vision.
You know, you hear all these stories about how aggressive this shark is, and I always wonder if sometimes if it's just like fishermen's tales where, the shark is bigger than it really was.
Not the fisherman tell
Nothing,
tales.
nothing that nothing our Captain Keith ain't proven true, but when it comes to talking about how the shark's behavior is in the water, I always want to find out for myself, how this animal's behavior is, because a lot of times it's over exaggerated. And in this instance with the smooth hammerhead, it's very shy, it's very elusive, it acts a lot like its cousin, the scalloped hammerhead. So right now I'm hoping that he's going to come back, and if he does, we're going to get another shot at trying to find out what this animal's personality is like. Until then, I think it's just, just another shy shark.
We wait for the smooth hammerhead to return. But in the meantime, 2 juvenile Mako sharks show up to play.
Well, I gotta watch getting in here because there's 2 baby Makos now, and they are nipping at everything, biting the ladder, biting our buoy, and they're all worked up. But apparently we're in some kind of a Mako nursery, so we got a little bit of fun going on here while we got some time to kill waiting for our smooth hammerheads. But I'm gonna jump in and get some Mako footage.
These young Mako sharks are really worked up. This one is only about 2 feet long and probably less than a week old. Yet it behaves in exact miniature of the 1,000-pound monster it may one day become. Curious, persistent, and always looking for prey. Both Eli and I are stunned at how bold and relentless these little Mako sharks are. they would also love to take a test bite of one of us. You can read this little shark's mind as it wonders how it can get away with a good bite. "15 miles offshore from Palos Verdes, California, we're laying down a chum slick and drifting with the current, trying to attract smooth hammerhead sharks to our boat. One smooth hammerhead appeared, but quickly left the area. Now we're in the water with two juvenile Mako sharks who seem anxious to just get a bite out of anything. These little sharks have so much attitude, as if they were sure they were much bigger than they really are. Contrast this with the behavior of a 10-foot-long hammerhead shark that seems remarkably shy. Unfortunately, our chum line is proving popular to many of the locals. The last thing we needed was a group of sea lions working our bait and chum over. But watching the shearwaters diving down 15 feet and flying around underwater as they pick up fish chunks is almost worth it. The smooth hammerhead has returned, curious about the commotion, but still wary. Yet she allows us to get much closer this time. You can sense how shy this shark is as she disappears once again into the blue haze.
Eli's very happy. We got in the water to basically kill some time. Two baby Makos came up to our bait, and so we dropped in. We're filming these cute little Makos, and the next thing you know, a smooth hammerhead wheels in, checks us out, cruises around us just enough for us to get some nice shots of it, and to get a sense of this animal's personality. And I think, like Eli said, they're very similar to a scalped hammerhead in temperament. They're very, very timid. So in terms of being aggressive, maybe they are, but they're sure not showing it to us.
Definitely not. I think it's more of the same thing where somebody doesn't interpret the animal's behavior. They say it's aggressive. They say it's a scary shark, but in reality, I mean, it's just a shy, very careful predator, just like the rest of his cousins.
This series is about shark behavior, and you just got to witness dramatic contrast between two different species of sharks. Earlier in the day, we had a smooth hammerhead come up to the boat. We got in the water to get a sense of that shark's personality. Right away, we could see how timid the smooth hammerhead is. It stayed around for maybe a minute or two and then just took off. And we're out here for 3 or 4 hours chumming, trying to get another smooth hammerhead to come to the boat so we can get a little bit more experience with him. And the next thing we know, two juvenile Mako sharks show up, a 4-footer and about a 2.5-footer. The 2.5-footer is newborn. That's a brand new baby shark. And both of them were extremely aggressive, very bitey. They were coming to the back of the boat, biting the swim step, biting the boat, biting the buoy with the fish hanging on it, shaking the heck out of everything they were biting, coming up to us like they wanted to bite us. And we understand they're also juveniles, which makes them inexperienced, which makes them dangerous. So that's part of the equation. But while we're out there, a smooth hammerhead comes up the chum line, gives us just a couple of minutes to get a little bit more of a feel for their personality. What a difference.
Absolutely. We came out here to find out if the smooth hammerhead was an aggressive shark. If the rumors were true, they're completely false. This shark is a very careful animal. It would come in, it would hang out in the peripherals, it would just do flybys, but it did not want to come in. I think what we did find out was this shark is a very careful, timid predator.
So despite all of the reports about how aggressive the smooth hammerhead is, Eli and I now both know for sure this is a shy, timid animal with a personality very similar to a scalloped hammerheads. They might come in to investigate, but they're not going to hang around very long. And where do these reports come from? Well, sharks have been sensationalized by the media, and people tend to overreact when they're in the water and they see a shark. And then the shark senses that, and then the shark gets excited. The key to staying safe around sharks is understanding them.